May Day. Labour gives FG May 31 deadline on minimum wage.
Okay, so yesterday was Labour May Day, May 1, Workers' Day. And so the riders that we have here is that they are insisting on 615,000 minimum wage. 615,000 minimum wage. Okay, so some of you don't have a degree in economics. Probably didn't even do economics at secondary school. But you get common sense. So if you have a worker you've been paying 30,000 and you now have to pay him 615,000, because when you say minimum wage, I think after you have employed a certain number of people, you must by law pay this. What do you think will happen? So it boils down to what I've said, that the Nigerian Labour Congress, they're not showing seriousness and maturity. And I'm beginning to think that between them and the federal government, they're playing games with us. I've never heard where something would shoot from 30,000 to 615. That's the minimum. So if you are paying level 1 615, what will you pay the PAMSEC? What will you pay the senator? I expect Labour to come to approach this issue with a lot of seriousness and maturity and work well done by their research department. This looks frivolous. It looks childish. It lacks maturity, it lacks seriousness, and it's difficult for me to sit down here and start analyzing when I'm not a wasteful person. I don't want to waste my time on things like this. It means we have a Labour Congress that cannot meet up to the challenges of defending workers. Here you are, when Gawan doubled salaries, just double. When the doubled salaries during the dodgy, we never recovered. Never. Rent doubled, this doubled, that doubled, this doubled. So if you have a transport company and you are paying your conductor 615,000 minimum wage, of course, driver will get more than that. So what are we talking about here? I would rather if the Labour Department come out with a well-researched and realistic minimum wage, top it up a little bit to allow for negotiations. With this, I'm beginning to smell a conspiracy between these two people, between Labour and federal government, that they're playing games with Nigerians. It is sad that it's happening under the time of Joe Ajaero. And I think he needs to look in the mirror very well and ask himself, what legacy do you want to leave for Nigerians? Are they going to be talking about you the way they talk about with so much fondness about Michael Imodu, who had been a labor leader before half the population of Nigeria was born, or Hassan Sumono? Let's get real, Nigerians, for God's sake. I'm highly disappointed, and as I've said, it's difficult to convince me that between the federal government and Labour, they're not toying with the welfare of Nigerians. And they say they threaten a total shutdown. That has never and will never happen. And they say they place a 18-point demand before the federal government. They condemn the hike in electricity tariff and demand reversal within 1 week. These things are not realistic. We expect a Labour Congress to be able to back and bite. But this is the back of a Rottweiler with the voice of a puppy. It's disgraceful. I'm sorry. I'm not caught in by all this. I am convinced, nobody can convince me otherwise. And I'm not saying there is. I am convinced that between the politicians and the Labour Congress, something has gone down and they're just playing games with Nigerians. And resist anti-people tendencies. I stand with workers in solidarity, Peter Obi. Akpabio assures Nigerian workers of better welfare. Well, I don't know. This thing is becoming unserious. They said that they insist on 650 minimum wage. The battle for a new national minimum wage rages on. Current demands of 615 stands firm, rooted in the grim reality of workers' lives across the nation. through rigorous engagement with all stakeholders, we've pressed for a 2-year lifespan for the new act with automatic adjustments triggered by inflation surpassing 7.5%. Every employer with 5 employees and above must comply. So you want Nigerian IFO to pay their security guards 615,000. We'll be shut down. It will be shut down. You want the restaurant down the road to pay 615,000 as minimum wage? Let's get real. What we should be fighting for is not money. In monetary terms, what we should be fighting for is value. How do you get value? You get value by intervention in certain areas. Even if you can't get intervention, some effective intervention in macro, you can get in micro. What did Marwa do one time, for example? He had staff buses for teachers, he had staff buses for this, staff buses for that, and so on and so forth. I think it was Marwa who had a subsidized canteen in the secretariat for Lagos State workers and so on like that. What we should be looking for is value. What do you think will happen if your minimum wage is 615,000? You think the landlords will sit down and look? Anyway, so they condemn electricity tariffs, they talk about insecurity, all the things that are expected of a labor, whatever is what has been said. Because of this unseriousness in what I see here, I haven't bothered to read any further. It is not yet to huru for Nigerians, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I wonder what you think, though.
About what?
615,000 minimum wage.
Oh, well.
Your salary will become how much now? You need a tipper to carry your salary.
I mean, that's why they have a tripartite committee looking into it. Those ones will be able to, put it down. And
But doesn't it reflect a level of unseriousness? If I were them, I would not put a figure. If I were them, I'd wait with a sense of purpose. If they actually did know, you look at everything in its totality with this tripartite committee. But we've been at this thing for 2 to 3 years. Something is going down. We are being deceived. That's the honest to God truth. Between these politics, and you know the way these things go. You can't pretend that you don't know. Omokilo Bade. So it's enough of all this, deceit, and stop tantalizing and titillating our citizens over something that you know how far you are going to go. The increase that the federal government has put in federal government salaries gives you an indication of where the whole thing is going to be headed. And there's this myopic argument that sometimes when you go for negotiation, you should go from the very high down to the very. What happens if you do that one time too often is that you have not done your homework well and you're not serious. Which federal government personnel will take them serious when they say they want a minimum wage of 615? If the driver driving the senator is on 615, how much is the senator going to be on?